Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, where this season we're taking a look at George Romero's 1980s television series, Tales from the Darkside. Sharing the Midnight View with me are the projection booth's Mike White.
I heard it on the radio.
And also joining us, the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
Pin a tail on me, won't you, Father Malone?
We are looking tonight at the last two episodes of Season 3. Those are Let the Games Begin and The Enormous Radio. Let the Games Begin is Season 3, Episode 21. It originally aired on May the 10th, 1987, written by Peter O'Keefe, who also wrote that Ghost Rider the Vampire episode this season, and directed by John Lewis. This one stars David Groh, Jane Summerhays, Earl Hindman. That's Wilson from Home Improvement, y'all. He was also Mr. Brown in Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
That's how I prefer to remember him.
Me too. Actually, my experience with him began with he's a voice on talk radio. He does a lot of voices in the Eric Bogosian's film Talk Radio. So I got really used to him being a fucking neo-Nazi piece of shit. And then the next thing I know, he's the nice next door neighbor on fucking Home Improvement. I was like, yeah, I don't know. You shouldn't trust that guy.
To be fair, you didn't know if you was never confirmed whether or not he was a neo-Nazi on Home Improvement.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't stick around for the entire run of that show, so
we
I
never
didn't
see
know if it was a
Wilson's
very
house.
special
You know, he
episode.
could have just had like a Confederate flag in the front yard.
Well, let's just say he was there on January 6th. You know what I mean?
Wilson, and lucky for Wilson, only half of his face showing.
This is a story of an angel and devil fighting over the soul of a recently deceased salesman at a motel. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
Oh boy, did this one really outlast its welcome. I was so excited. When I saw Earl Hindman, I was like, yeah, great. I love him. Dave Grohl, I really enjoy him. Now, was he Rhoda's husband, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty much where I know him mostly from. Really like him. I wasn't too familiar with the guy that played the bellhop or the lady who played the demon, but as soon as it started, I was like, oh, okay, a wager over soul. All right, I think we've seen this probably, 50, 60 times maybe. And I was there for it at first, this whole thing of whoever gets out the door with this guy, we are good. He's either going to heaven, going to hell. And then just all the antics start, and it just, I'm going to sound like Chris here and probably myself now, because I think I've said this almost as many times. It's a blackout skit, and it's stretched out to 30 minutes. Once they hit that first commercial break, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, there's two more breaks coming. Or one more break. I wasn't here for it. I was done within the first 10 minutes. Clever concept, but just dragged on, and no twists, nothing to throw some wrenches in there at all. Yeah, I wasn't impressed. What'd you think, Chris?
Yeah, you put it pretty succinctly, and I will echo that as well. This was a blackout sketch drug out to 10 times as long as it needs to be. It's like a 2-minute sketch, for fuck's sake. It is a one-panel comic in a Playboy magazine, for fuck's sake. Like this, look, a devil and an angel, or a demon and an angel are fighting over a guy's eternal soul, and then they fall in love. Like, okay, did we need that for 22 minutes? Like, it was fine. This show all of a sudden is doing the thing that the other shows have done, which is just run headfirst into a fucking wall. And not only run into a wall, but keep smashing its head into a wall too. Just like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's not working. Stopped working a while ago, if it ever worked at all. It's a love triangle story, which I kind of love. It's not a love triangle, but again, like what they're trying to do is they're fighting over someone, so it feels kind of part and parcel to that, and that one of them takes the identity of someone that was romantically pushing away the guy.
His sister-in-law. Yeah.
Like, he's a lecherous piece of shit. I don't know, like, at the end of the day, I liked the concept. It's just they never really did enough with it, in my opinion, to warrant 22 minutes of screen time.
The whole thing of Grow threatening to, sorry, I should say the angel threatening to kill himself multiple times, not just once. Like, that should have been a tactic. Didn't work. Move on to the next tactic. Oh, you know what? I'm going to try to kill myself again. What the fuck are you doing? And then when it comes to the woman who's like, or sorry, the demon, it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to try to seduce this guy, but he's got somebody who he wants in another hotel room, somebody that he was interested in high school, because he's coming back drunk from a high school reunion, it sounds like. Hey, how about we pay another actress and get the demon to portray her for a little bit? Again, no other tactics. We're just going to try, like you said, run ourselves into that wall time and time again. Father Malone, tell us how much you love this episode.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. I am. I see the scowl on his face. He's like, you guys just don't get it.
You missed the whole point.
I know.
It's funny that the phenomenon you mentioned, Mike, as far as recognizing the trope that we're in for and locking in and accepting. I think we all do that, right? I know that every time we get another deal with the devil episode, or even a love triangle episode, you recognize it from the opening credits and go, okay, now do something interesting. Because there's a reason we go to those stories, because they're fucking good. They can be fucking great. Like, every single series that we've seen have done multiple deal with the devil episodes, and I've enjoyed them across the board. They keep innovating, keep making interesting choices. They didn't make any interesting choices here, other than I think they fell in love with the idea that these two are going to fall in love, that an angel and a devil are going to be in love by the end. And they thought, and the best way to get us there is to do everything at the most frenetic pace possible. I'm all for a wager episode, a Job episode. I'm gonna make Job curse you. No, you're not. That's a situation can be fun. Not only was he using the same tactic over and over again, it was like all very just like screaming in his face, like, I'm over here. Come on, love me. Let's go outside. Walk with me. All right, I'm over here. I'm really depressed. Like, at one point, Earl Hindman is like, I've had enough of both of you. And I was like, thank God this character's saying that. Like for once, someone is doing something real here on Tales of the Darkside. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. I do like that twist, and I liked some of the weirdo asides, like the way that she brings him back to life she basically jumpstarts him with a bunch of electrical components that she's cobbled together. I thought that was really fun. And then when the angel brings him back, it's by saying this hyped up hyper version of Alleluia with this spotlight on him and stuff. Like, I don't know. There were enough weird touches that it's telegraphed a promise of something bigger and weirder and cooler, except it wasn't interested in doing any of that. Like I said, I think whoever wrote this, and it was Peter O'Keefe, once he thought, I'm going to get an angel and a devil to fall in love. That's the coolest thing. And obviously has never seen another anthology show.
Yeah, it's like he wrote page 1 and then he wrote page 30 and then was like, all right, how do I fill the rest of these pages?
Yeah. It doesn't really matter because the beginning is strong and the end is strong.
Yeah, matters to us. Sorry, Peter. Try again.
Anything more on this one, Chris? Because I ain't got a goddamn thing.
It feels like a Twilight Zone 1985 episode, or even more so Night Gallery. Like, it doesn't. This feels beneath this show.
It
Genuinely,
really...
that this doesn't feel like this show's caliber of storytelling.
No.
It's shocking, really.
It reminds me of some of those better Deal with the Devil episodes that I would just much rather be watching. Give me Sherman Hemsley trying to solve a math problem and Ron Glass just torturing him. Give me Dan Hedaya playing poker. Like, I want those episodes. But yeah, this one seemed to have a lot of promise and just didn't know what to do with it.
Or even John Aston trapped in the record station or the radio station. You can have a lot of fun. Just you actually have to want to have fun.
Yeah. It became rote, and 20 minutes shouldn't feel rote.
No.
20 minutes is not that. 20 minutes should be in and out and we're done. Brisk, lean storytelling. This is not that. And this should have been that because that's the requirement for 23 minutes. So
I kept waiting for the bellboy to actually be some sort of a twist. And that never happened. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no introduction of components here beyond the initial 3, and that's surprising.
I was waiting for the bellboy to come back in and somehow lead him out the door and be like, okay, I won, and have a twist of him representing some other agency completely. Maybe he's Buddha. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Oh my God. We're just off the top of our head making this thing better. Those people received money.
Anything. Yeah, anything. Yes. Like something more than they did.
All right. The Enormous Radio is season 3, episode 22. It aired originally on May 17th, 1987. This is written by Guy Galler from a story by John Cheever and directed by Bill Travis. This one stars Christine Easterbrook, John Rothman, Kate O'Toole, and as one of the voices, I noticed Beth Broderick. She plays one of the aunts on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This is a story about a new radio, an enormous radio, being delivered to a home in the 1940s that allows the listener to eavesdrop on the intimate conversations of their neighbors. What do you think of this one, Chris?
Yup. That is the story. It sure is. It was fun. I don't want to sound like a goddamn broken record at this point, but this is a 22-minute sketch. There aren't a lot of moving parts once again, and the execution just isn't there. If your execution is there, you don't have to have a lot of moving parts. You can have 3 people talking to each other in a room for an hour and a half. You could do that. You can make that interesting and exciting. Fucking Aaron Sorkin's made an entire career off of writing sizzling dialogue for characters. This is not that. This is 2 people at odds with each other because their radio might be transmitting them to other buildings the way that a radio is being transmitted to their radio. That's the entire conceit. And then the episode ends when it gets interesting on top of everything else. Like, it literally ends with the shot of, oh, so there is more going on here. But it doesn't fucking matter because we spent the entire time with these 2 people that I think, while I appreciate what the episode is trying to do and getting us over this logical hump of, in this world, this radio is allowing it to be like a walkie-talkie or kind of an open microphone, I just don't think they do anything particularly interesting with it. And setting it during the Great Depression also, I get it for the sheer aspect of the radio-ness of it all, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like they do much with the premise. And the premise is somewhat interesting, but they don't get themselves into any sort of interesting situation with it. It's just the people might be listening. Okay, like that's about it. That's about as much as we mine here. So it's fine. I just think there's a lot left on the table with this episode for sure. What about you, Mike?
This is a radio transmitter to God. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the size of that radio.
It's enormous.
It's so big. I read most of the John Cheever story that this is based on. It ends the exact same way. It's 6 pages, somewhat double spaced at times. It's a pretty short story, and it pretty much ends similarly to what we have here. And yeah, starts to get interesting towards the end because they're fighting and they might be now stars of this radio. But yeah, give me something else here, because it takes too long to get set up, takes too long for the husband to hear what she's hearing. And then once she does, she just stays up all night listening to the radio. And I'm like, okay, and what are you going to do with this information? What's going to happen here? And not very much at all happens. They just start to fight about her listening to the radio all the time. And I'm like, this could have been so interesting to start to, I don't know, solve people's problems. Or there's one part where she's, being beaten and stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Go stop the beating. And then, like, how did you know this was happening? I heard it on the radio, but you can't say that. Those kind of, again, it feels like the last episode where it's like, hey, there's a world of possibilities here. Take that 6-page short story and blow it out into 22 minutes of pure bliss. But instead, it just was so frustrating watching this one. And yeah, I really wanted it to be better. And I'll be honest, I'm so stupid. It took me a while, even though it's a big fucking radio, the time period of it still felt foreign. I didn't buy that it was that age. And when they started like making more references, I was like, oh, they're really going for it. They're really trying to set it in this age. Okay. I just wasn't getting it. How about you, Father Malone?
I loved this one.
Okay.
Yeah, top to bottom. I bought it wholesale. I have no problem with a gentle episode. And I found it refreshing that this was not a transmitter to God, that this wasn't a, oh my God, the truck is going to turn over and he's going to die. We got to stop Timmy from going on that trip. I like that there were no stakes beyond the realization that all of your neighbors and everyone you know are fucking horrible people. That's what she's learning. And that's what the fight is, right? Because that's what she keeps arguing with her husband. Every time he starts to give her shit about anything, she's like, okay, but let's not do it this way. Don't yell at me about it. Can we just have a conversation? Like, don't be frustrated like this. That's what everyone is doing, and it's tearing everyone apart. And for some reason, those stakes just really hit home for me. In fact, the ending, the climax, when they cut to another household where they're turning on the radio and we're now hearing their conversation, that was like a gut punch to me. I don't know. This one, for whatever reason, I just completely vibrated with it. That made me gasp at the end when another set of neighbors were starting to listen to them.
That's a good ending. It's just I wanted more, and maybe,
but there is no more because
no, and I know, but
they now are exactly what she's been like worried about the entire time.
They have been the whole time. Is the other thing that I think could have been explored. Again, like there were avenues to go down. I think maybe my complaint is a little hollow actually, because it could be perceived as a success of the story that by the end it's making me want to know more. However, I do think, same coin, different side, that also is a failure because they don't give you enough. But it's also 23 minutes. How much can you expect anybody to give you in 23 minutes? Per the last episode, they gave us so much that I was sick and tired of what they were giving me. So this one has a different problem. I like Christine Estabrook and John Rothman. I think they're good together. I think they're believably terrible to each other back and forth, but also like a believable situation where they would continue to cohabitate even if they are being terrible to. I think that's maybe where the Great Depression of it all comes in, is to reinforce the gender roles and aspects of it so that the woman couldn't just theoretically just leave the husband. Because again, like, I guess if you want to have that conversation about the Great Depression, that maybe was a little less socially acceptable then, a little less easy to do. And so maybe that's why. But to your point, Mike, like the Great Depression of it all seems to serve really no purpose.
Other than they're setting it up because it's a radio. Like people weren't
Right,
gathered around their
right.
radios prior to that.
Yeah, there would have been tea, right? And frankly, would it not have been more interesting if it's like you turn on your TV and it's just a shot of another, like essentially like you're seeing like what the TV would be seeing of the other room? Isn't that how you would do this story for the TV age? Is just the TV is showing you the living room of the other people or hidden cameras in the walls. You could have done that. I guess it wouldn't have been as interesting maybe, but same idea, same concept.
Be like the Harvey Pitnick wedding, or rather funeral on Amazon Women on the Moon. Hey, honey, I'm on the.
Yeah.
It's a show about me on the TV. They're talking about me on the TV. Come in here.
The roast. Oh God, that was so good.
That was, yeah, I think this feels more Tales from the Dark Side than the last episode.
This one actually feels original Twilight Zone to me more than anything.
It verges on it, yeah.
Because it's so gentle in its approach. Do want to say one thing about Christine Easterbrook. If you haven't seen this episode and you're fans of the television series Mad Men, you really ought to check this one out. Christine Easterbrook plays Joan Hollowell's mom, Christina Hendricks' mom. And it took me forever to figure out that that's who I was watching because I just watched Mad Men again recently. But she's so young and vital here. And she's like kind of a harridan on the TV series. So anyway, it was nice seeing her and seeing her range.
Yeah, I suppose I like it better these days where you can just go into a certain website and turn on a person's webcam and just watch them that way. That's more fun.
Truman Show.
Yeah. All those weirdos that cover up their camera with a post-it note. And I'm just like, yeah,
I have Omegle on all the time. I'm on Omegle right now while we're podcasting.
Oh, I'm just on heroin.
What the fuck? Jesus, you're cranking out the bangers tonight, Mike.
If you remember, there was that Twilight Zone 85 came out at the same time about that. There was a guy who had cameras all in his house who was had a show, remember?
We haven't really mentioned that Twilight Zone 85 is on concurrently to this fucking show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neck and neck.
So far, is this show or Twilight Zone 85 better? Because we're coming into the last season of this show.
Yeah, this show over time. This show because first season
so.
Twilight Zone 85 was it. And
I mean, first season Twilight Zone 85 I think might be the best thing we've collectively watched together. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, it was every fucking heavy hitter in Hollywood who was like, "You guys are going to do another Twilight Zone? Let me be part of that."
I would agree. This show, I think Twilight Zone 85, the first season, is still the best thing we've watched. But this show has had some real high moments. But I would say this third season has had some lower points than either of the first two seasons had, and lower by what I would consider to be a substantial margin, verging into the depths that we had, Father Malone, with some of our Tales from the Crypt episodes.
I disagree fundamentally with you. I think it verges on maybe fourth season or fifth season Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tales from the Crypt gets really fucking bad.
Oh yeah, but nothing. I guess to be fair, nothing is as bad as that Twilight Zone last season. Other than maybe that's last season of fucking God, what was it? Night Gallery? Was that the one where they filmed it all in Canada?
No,
that was Twilight Zone. Okay, that was Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
they all run together at some point. So last season of Twilight Zone,
you know what?
Was pretty bad.
This season of Darkside has been hit and miss, as far as I'm concerned. There were too many misses at the end to think of the entire season as anything but, unfortunately. But I don't think this is anywhere near the drop in quality we've gotten with any of the other shows.
No, I guess in my mind, the quality of this show was so high that when it does dip, it does feel like that margin is wider. Because this show has been pretty consistently good. Almost like the first two seasons, I can't even think of a really standout negative episode. Those first two seasons were great of this show. Credit to Romero where credit is due. He knows what he's doing. But once he left, this show has been hit or miss.
And as I said, they lost their showrunner at the end of season 2, so they're foundering a bit here. We'll see what happens in our next episode. So we start up season 4, our final season of Tales from the Dark Side. All right, on our next episode of Midnight Viewing, we are taking a look at the first 2 episodes of season 4. Those are Beatles and Mary Mary. Midnight Viewing is a proud member of a Weirding Way Media Group. Our theme song was composed by HP with an assist by Donald Rubenstein. Until next time, Where can people find you, Mike White?
You can find pretty much everything that I do over at weirdingwaymedia.com. That includes the stuff that I work on mostly with y'all. There's not a whole lot that I work on without you, other than the Chasing Chevy Chase podcast, which has Chris, but no Father Malone. And that's got us talking about, yeah, that's true.
Technically it does.
Yeah, all right.
He is
okay,
nothing but
yes.
trouble, that Father Malone.
Special guest star, Father Malone, on the Nothing But Trouble episode, which, yeah, looking forward to people hearing that. Though, coming up is going to be our Funny Money episode, which I really think is the nadir of Mr. Chase's career.
Might be one of the worst things we've ever watched collectively.
Holy shit.
It made Mark Begley almost quit podcasting. I mean, that's not hyperbole. The conversations had afterwards were ones where it's like, I don't know if I want to keep watching bad movies with you guys anymore.
I want to pack my stuff and go home.
I'm taking my ball and going home, folks.
Oh boy. Yeah, find that over at weirdingwaymedia.com. How about you, Chris?
Same URL, weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can go to see and hear all the things that I work on. I've been in a little bit of a creative funk for the last year, and I'm trying to get myself out of it. So that's fun, and it's not as funky as it sounds. A creative funk, not a funky creative time. But you can still hear all the things that I have done and will continue to do over at weirdingwaymedia.com, other than Rankin' on Bond, which is on my Patreon and on your Patreon, which is Weirding Media, or patreon.com/culturecast or projection booth. But most importantly, head on over to patreon.com/Father Malone and kick this guy some money, because he's doing 2 episodes of this shit a week. And guess who's not doing 2 episodes a week? Not me. So give this guy a cup of coffee a week, or, a joint or whatever he gets up to out in the land of gambling.
It's all the marijuana. It's all the marijuana.
Hell yeah.
As for me, you're listening to everything I do, although HB does a show called Night Mr. Walters Taxi Podcast. I co-host that with him. He's got a great show called Noise Junkies. You should check that one out as well. It's a really good music program. If you want to help us out here financially, patreon.com/Father Malone, as they said. We get early episodes and commercial-free episodes and entirely new series that we're doing. In fact, we've got a pretty exciting one coming up this October. Anyway, next season 4. Thanks for joining us here at Midnight Viewing, and until next time, try to enjoy that daylight, y'all.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Dev Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.